a very good morning to you. You're watching Times Now Live. I'm Pratibha. Thank you for joining us this morning. And what a morning it's been. Hours after what happened at the White House. If you missed it, well, President Trump was meeting the Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy at the Oval Office. And it started off with both the leaders speaking to the media, talking about how the conversation went on smoothly, after which it all escalated. President Trump was seen raising his voice, speaking to Zelensky, saying, it doesn't look like you want peace and you are gambling with world war. You just see it to believe it. Let's play out what exactly happened at the Oval Office. Then we get you what it means and what the two leaders said after this meeting. Take a look.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
I'm not
you're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the
the
cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Cards.
Right now, you don't.
Yeah,
you're playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this entire meeting, you said thank you.
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the President who's trying to save your country.
In fact, after this heated exchange, Zelensky abruptly left the White House without signing a critical minerals deal with the U.S. that Trump had demanded and suggested was a condition for future support for Ukraine. The joint press briefing between the two world leaders was also abruptly cancelled. In fact, Trump, in a social media post, also accused Zelensky of disrespecting the United States of America in the cherished Oval Office and added that Zelensky can come back when he is ready for peace. Consulting editor Shinjoy Chaudhary and my colleague Rishabh joining us on the broadcast with the details of what this means, what's going to happen next. This is absolutely unprecedented, Shinjoy. We've never seen something like this take place, and it happened at the Oval Office. And let's look at the contrast of the statements that have come in. After this exchange of words, this fiery exchange of words in the presence of the media, Trump says Zelensky disrespected the United States, whereas Zelensky was hoping that things will improve.
This is the most catastrophic moment in the White House in years and years. Never has something like this happened, as you rightly said, unprecedented. Here are the President of America, the Vice President of America, and the President of Ukraine virtually having a boxing match in the Oval Office with the world watching. This has never happened before. Then, of course, are the repercussions of this. What will happen now? First of all, the Americans are making it very clear that they are not going to accept anything that Zelensky says right now, which basically means there is one big question mark over American military and other supplies to Ukraine. Is that going to happen? Will America stop military aid to Ukraine? Question. If that happens, question two, can Europe, Australia, Canada, and all these countries actually fill the breach? Now, first of all, this seems very, very difficult for Europe and Australia and Canada to do, because the strongest military power in the world is America. The best weapons, the most sophisticated weapons are with the Americans. And if the war has gone on for 3 years, it is partly, at least, because of American weaponry. Now, what happens? Now, thirdly, this is something the Russians must be laughing about, because they see the Western alliance completely divided. The Europeans saying one thing, the Americans saying another thing. And the question now is, if there has to be peace in Ukraine, how can that happen? How will that work out? These are very difficult issues to look at, because at this point, you can't make out what is going to happen tomorrow. Will America stop supplying weapons? If America stops supplying weapons, can Europe and others manage to do what they have been doing? That's very difficult to believe. And if that happens, how long does the war last? So these are things that are going to be very difficult to answer right now. But the most important thing is what we saw in front of, in the Oval Office, in the White House, has probably never happened before. So here are three top leaders, one leader literally fighting it out. Is it a boxing ring or is it the Oval Office? It's hard to make out.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, in fact, world leaders have spoken up. Several European leaders have lined up to show their solidarity with the Ukrainian president after he came under attack from the US President Donald Trump and the Vice President J.D. Vance in the stunning White House confrontation. In fact, within just a short time, prime ministers and presidents from the north, south, east and west of the continent posted on social media in support of Zelensky and Ukraine in the war against Russia's invasion following the extraordinary clash. Take a look.
We stand with Ukraine. I've had meetings with President Zelensky on multiple occasions, including, of course, in Kyiv, in Ukraine, where I travelled very early on in my prime ministership. And this year, we've seen that land war in Europe go on for 3 years. The people of Ukraine are fighting not just for their own national sovereignty. They are fighting for the international rule of law. Australia has committed some $1.5 billion to help Ukraine defend itself. More than $1.3 billion of that is military support. We will continue to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes, because this is the struggle of a democratic nation versus an authoritarian regime led by Vladimir Putin, who clearly has imperialistic designs not just on Ukraine, but throughout that region.
So several of the world leaders have spoken up. We just played out what Australia has said, but let's also take a look at what the other world leaders have said. Australia making it clear that Australia stands with Ukraine. So they've come out and said it in as many words. Emmanuel Macron from France saying Russia is the aggressor. So again, picking sides and saying it is Russia that is the aggressor, saying Canada stands firm with Ukraine. So Justin Trudeau has also taken to social media to say that Canada also stands firmly with Ukraine. My colleague Rishabh is joining us on the broadcast with the details. Rishabh, we're seeing the world leaders take sides very clearly, and the world leaders have spoken about their support to Ukraine. This comes at a very interesting time because US has made it very, very clear that their stance is absolutely clear on this. In fact, Trump said in as many words that it looked like it was Zelensky who did not want peace.
Well, definitely, Pratibha. If we talk about the support that is coming in for Ukraine, it started with Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister Albanese from Australia, leaders from European countries, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, Germany, as well as France has come in support of Ukraine. European Commission, European Union Parliament, as well as European Council presidents have tweeted in Ukraine's favor. But this support is more of a moral support, if we see. Can Europe sustain Ukraine's war? That is a million-dollar question. And the point is that the amount of money that was coming in from the European countries individually and European Union at large was just a fraction of the money and equipment that was coming in from United States. Now, it is clear that White House is in no mood to support Ukraine's war, which means that Ukraine will have to rely on European Union, countries like Australia, or for that matter, Canada to support them. But how much can they support them is a million-dollar question. Will they be able to send their own troops to fight for Ukraine? That is a very far-sighted notion that few may support, but politically, many countries will not try and get into a third country's war, and that too physically. Monetarily, equipment-wise, okay, they can send some of it, but will they send them in? No, that's completely not an option that these countries have. With no money and equipment coming in from the United States, it will definitely be difficult for Zelensky and Ukraine to sustain this war against Russia. And if we talk about how things are right now, Russia is, manufacturing thousands of drones every month. Zelensky and his forces has not been able to shoot down all of them, and they have been constant drone attacks in various parts of Ukraine. That is a modern warfare. On the front lines like Kursk or Mariupol, or for that matter, the other eastern borders of Ukraine, Russia is making advances, and with such pictures coming in, definitely it will demoralize the forces as well, because they till date thought that US is standing firmly. A paradigm shift in Washington policy will definitely lead to Ukraine look for new allies, but will those new allies be able to support Ukraine's war as US has been supporting for the last 3 years? That is definitely not very clear as of now.
Yes, because previously US has been one of the strongest allies of Ukraine in this war, and very clearly now Trump saying that it is Zelensky who does not seem to want peace. In fact, after that meeting as well, this continued. Donald Trump lashed out at the Ukrainian president, saying that he overplayed his hand in the Oval Office meeting, and he called for an immediate ceasefire, warning Ukraine to negotiate peace or risk losing the US support.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up as strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening.
So this was the message from Donald Trump, and it was clear that he is not going to change his stance. Interestingly, Zelensky, though, after the meeting, held hope that things will improve. He said that the ties between US and Ukraine are much more than just the two presidents, and it will improve. That's a statement that Zelensky made while he was speaking to the media. But it looked like the US President, Donald Trump, was quite clear. So a lot expected in the coming hours as well. It will be interesting to see when the next meeting will be and what Russia has to say on that.